James O'Brien absolutely destroys this racist caller, and you're going to want to watch it. As always, I'll give my thoughts at the end, and make sure to hit subscribe.
I would not like a trenchant Islamic family moving in next to me.
And how would you know? How would you know the depth of their religious
I know
beliefs?
The culture, James, and this is the problem.
But how would you spot
it,
Phil?
That there is a genuine issue. I sit very, very much in the centrist position. I'm a member of a very progressive pan-European political party. I fully accept that there are problems with migration, and I think that that's where I'm coming from, because I genuinely believe that the liberal left, well, not so much, but just the over-liberal.
Well, can you just tell me what those words mean?
Right. Okay. People like yourself.
Well, that doesn't tell me what the words mean. What do the words mean when you use them?
Liberal, in
yes.
the sense of basically wanting, full human rights at every stage of political engagement,
but only for humans,
which is ideal. Don't get me wrong; it's an ideal, but it's a false ideal, and that it can not possibly reach. So
what can't we reach?
People like yourself,
I am going to insist that you explain the words that you use, because you've made it about
all
me.
I'm saying is I'm saying liberal people have swept.
Yes, but you haven't told me what liberal means, except
under the carpet.
No, we never talk about anything else, Phil.
No.
No.
I'm sorry. You've swept it under the carpet.
We haven't swept it under the carpet, Phil. In fact, today the phone in today.
That is not a problem.
No one said there isn't a problem. There are people drowning in the English Channel, Phil. That's about as big a problem as humanity can conceive of.
That is a huge problem. I agree.
So what does liberal mean, Phil? My centrist friend.
Okay. Overly liberal, James.
Well, you can't tell me what overly liberal means unless you tell me what does liberal mean.
That someone who is concerned about non-cultural immigration, if you like.
What does that mean? What does non-cultural mean?
I mean, James, if I'm literally having to explain everything I say to you, but you do this, and this is your mode of operation.
Well, then you knew what to expect. You must have given it some thought before you rang in. You can't tell me what liberal means. What does non-cultural mean?
It means, if people, say, for example, I have a Polish family live next door.
Yes.
I might even not know that they're a Polish family because they blend in.
But they speak Polish.
Now, if you have
but
people
who
do not blend in, for whatever, it could be any European migratory family, if you like, or whatever,
right.
or community. It doesn't matter. The point is they blend in.
How do they blend in? They've got their own shops.
Because you don't notice them. James, I mean, this is ridiculous. This is the problem. You can't see the problem you create.
What is the problem with non-Polish immigrants?
You had a conversation with a Christian who objected, to homosexual issues and blah, blah, blah. And you went through Leviticus and Numbers.
That's correct,
pointing out, well, why don't you accept that? You would never do that with the Quran.
Oh, I have done it with the Quran.
No, you haven't.
Yes, no, I have. I think the best example. Phil, why? I mean, you must appreciate, Phil. It's turning into a game of. It's turning into a game of gammon bingo, this, mate. So just pause and listen for a minute. I'll tell you.
Huge difference, sir.
House. So I think the best example I can give you is when people were complaining about the Quran being set fire to. I asked a caller if he would object to someone having it on their computer and pressing delete, and the consequences were similarly hilarious to a Christian trying to use Leviticus. So,
and a while ago, you also went on about someone who was objecting to Islamic practices, and you made a conversation. His name was Richard, and you brought in the sock guy on the plane.
That was nearly 10 years ago.
Every person who is James. You are.
That was nearly 10 years ago, Phil.
Deny that. But it's obfuscation.
So here we are on the radio talking about why the country has spent all week talking about Gary Lineker, and you've come on and said it's because there are people that don't blend in.
No, I've said it's because people in the media will not acknowledge.
What does blend in mean?
We almost Brexited because you drove swathes of people, normal people who were just concerned about immigration.
Right.
You drove them into the hands of the extremists.
Okay.
And that is the problem. And that is the problem across politics.
But extremists use language like blend in, don't they?
are toxic.
Phil, I'm going to keep you on the line until I can get a word in edgeways, and I'm going to insist that you explain the language that you've used. So I want to know what it is about a Polish family moving in next door that lets them blend in the way that, well, what families don't blend in, Phil?
Well, I'd be absolutely honest. I would not like a trenchant Islamic family moving in next to me.
And how would you know? How would you know the depth of their religious beliefs?
I know the culture, James, and this is the problem.
But how would you spot
it,
Phil?
That there is a genuine issue. What about
what would it be, Phil? Again, I need to ask you some more. I need to ask you some more questions, Phil. We're talking about you and your imaginary neighbours, all right? So we can go back over my greatest hits of gammon baiting if you want, but I think it would be boring for people who haven't spent as much time watching my YouTube clips as you have, which is considerably more time than I have, actually. So what is it about your imaginary Muslim neighbours? What do they do that makes them undesirable neighbours for you?
Because, look, there is a cultural difference.
But my questions are really straightforward, and everybody else, everybody can hear me talking. What do they do, these imaginary neighbours, that makes them undesirable?
Well, they're imaginal. So how they're, as you said, they're imaginary. So how can I really state exactly what I'm saying?
Because you know that you don't want to live next door to them. What is it that these imaginary neighbours do that you're confident a Polish family would never do? You know there are Polish Muslims.
Well,
do they blend
Muslims,
in?
James, that doesn't make the point.
Do they blend in, though? Do the Polish Muslims?
Anything about their Bible?
You keep talking, Phil.
It is the fanatics in all these situations that steal the show, because they are.
Do Polish Muslims blend in, Phil?
Don't care. But if you do not acknowledge,
the Polish Muslims blend in, Phil.
A large swathe of the silent majority who are.
Do Polish Muslims blend in, Phil?
Pardon?
Do Polish Muslims blend in?
It all depends whether they were abiding by, strict Islamic practices.
And how would you tell? How would you tell? How would you tell that? How could you tell that? But just from living next door to them.
I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, James. This is quite ridiculous.
Mate, you've come on the radio and talked to me about people you wouldn't want to live next door to, and I'm asking why. Why, Phil?
I am totally. I don't.
What would the neighbours do? What would the imaginary neighbours do that would make them undesirable?
Bone in my body, but I am culturalist, James.
Say that again.
I'm not prepared.
Say that bit again about the racist bone in your body, because some people missed it.
I don't have a racist bone in my body.
But you don't want to live next door to brown people.
No, I do have a culturalist bone in my body, James.
Culturalist? What does that word mean?
Culture.
No, culturalist, you said.
Well, as in racist, James, for goodness sake. I'm just using
exactly,
it in the same manner.
Yes, exactly, you are. You're not supposed to say that bit out loud.
Right, so what an absolute clown we've got here. He's saying he's a culturalist and not a racist, but in his mind, the two words are interchangeable. And, I mean, I think it's clear for everyone to see and hear. This guy is a massive racist. He keeps saying that he doesn't want a Muslim family to live next door to him, and he can't really articulate what the difference is between a Muslim family living next door to him and a Polish family living next door to him. The clear discrepancy there, or this clear difference there, is race. And he tries to dance around the topic, but it just becomes clear to everyone listening that this guy is a racist and he doesn't want anyone non-white living next to him, which is a real shame, because I think a huge part of British culture is having those different cultures kind of interacting with each other. Having neighbours that you can share food with from different cultures is just a lovely experience. And to just not want that purely based on the colour of someone's skin is pretty disgusting, to be honest. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm keen to get your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next one.